Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the club call. Ned just got us because we've both got a mouthful of biscuit.
Yeah.
He just got us. It was like revenge.
Fair play to him. He's waited a long time.
Yeah.
And he took his opportunity well, to be fair.
Tap him, really.
That's happening,
Which
but
normally misses.
they all count. He does, but they all count. They all count.
Speeds didn't.
It did, but he was offside.
No, he was offside.
Suey.
Yeah, it is the club call. Feel free to give us a call on Premier. The link is at the top. You just have to, on your phone, on your laptop, just stick a pair of headphones in. Just so it sounds nice and we can't hear people behind you chatting and stuff.
Guys, we're talking to you as you races
a lot of
through
people just
the middle of
headphones.
Manchester.
Headphones, or earbuds and stuff like that, whatever it is. Don't even do people still have headphones that have wires on them? Oh, hi.
Well, them kind.
We have to.
We have to, yeah.
We have to. Chat.
Nice, me Apple ones have got. They're not wireless.
No.
Buds.
They aren't, or they are.
No, they are.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, they've got the wire on.
Why?
Sound. Why not?
Why haven't you invested in buds?
150 sheets for
Didn't
buds.
Didn't I buy you some?
No.
I am sure.
We had some in here. You can buy me them. I've bought my own. I lost the best ones I had. I don't know where they've gone. They've been moved. I've got a feeling they're in the hotel in Minnesota. Oh. I've got a feeling. They were good. They worked quite well. Apart from when they went off on when I was doing Sky Sports. Have we? Where though?
They're here somewhere.
They're in Neds. Let's be honest.
Neds land. Or they're in. Do you think like the lizards?
The lizards have got them, mate.
Did he? Ah, look, he's just found them for you. Know what it is, Baz? You never veer.
I don't go behind there, mate.
The talent doesn't go behind there.
Doesn't need to. Not allowed. Not allowed behind there. Stay away.
The talent doesn't veer behind there.
Fair play.
Yeah, so there you go. So if you want to get in touch with us, please do. Call us.
Welcome.
This is the first time we've done a show together since last Thursday.
It is.
Because you've been in Barcelona. And Portaventura.
Salute.
Eating
Salute,
the local delicacy that is ham and cheese butties.
But it was done nicely.
They are nicer though, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's just something
ham
different.
What's ham on? Once you spend ham on.
In France.
You know what I mean? You bring the ham on, then you're laughing.
Did they have the leg? Remember Arteta when he
with the
leg?
No. They had this cheese in the thing the other night though. It was about that big, the wheel of cheese.
It's
incredible.
I reckon Ned could eat a wheel of cheese.
Saberio numero uno said Barcelona. That's what it's for.
That if you'd ever made that signing, that would have been the headline.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Yeah. Incredible.
We just need someone called Barry to sign for Barcelona so someone can use that. Or you score a couple of goals in like the Classico and it's like Barcelona 2, Real Madrid 0, like something like that. I don't know whether the marker would use that.
Everton England only had 3 players, haven't they, gone to Barcelona? Gary Lineker and Tony Duggan, who is now pregnant. Congratulations.
She's out for the rest of the season.
Out for the season with a pregnancy. It's not like going down the physio list, like hamstring, groin, pregnancy.
Can't do much about that. How did you get that injury?
Yeah. We'll have to look at the tapes just to see how you've picked it up. It is a mad one. But yeah, true. It was incredible. What I would say is...
John Blaine's just walked in.
I mean,
where did that come from?
Well, John, I've got a reason to be a little bit confused as to why the days are a little bit messed up, because my missus doesn't normally work Wednesday. She works Tuesday, off Wednesday. She's in work today. So I keep, because we were away.
What's that got to do with John Blaine?
Let me tell you now. So I was keep thinking, it's Tuesday because she's in work. It's not, it's Wednesday. Yeah, John Wednesday. Knew he was supposed to come in Thursday to do the shows with us. I turned up Wednesday.
Now I'm just confused.
Is it?
Make it simple for you.
Is it Wednesday?
I was driving by.
Okay.
And I thought I'd been appeared.
Oh, thanks, John.
Get yourself a drink, John.
Then
John. Chill out. You can come and chill out.
It is getting used. We're using the fridge.
John's talking about the fridge. That is in the room.
John, one day a fridge just turned up.
Small.
John's fridge.
Mini fridge. It's literally John's fridge.
It's full of chocolate.
John's fridge.
It's full of chocolate now.
Well, I wouldn't say full.
It is full of chocolate.
Got some chocolate. It's got cold toffee.
John's got his Toffee TV shirt on there. He's gone full.
I don't know where my one of them is. I need to find it.
Is that in the hotel?
That's in the hotel. You were supposed to do the sweep.
Hang on, I was sick.
Oh, yeah. I did do the sweep. There was nothing left. But anyway, Eugene says check the like button. Make sure you do. We'll see in here. I mean, MGN 799 says the dynamic duo are back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Danny says let's have a win. at the weekend.
Yeah.
Up the Toffees,
Let's have a look.
definitely. Claire says positive news on Patterson, lads, as I feared it could have been a lot worse.
See, I didn't feel
You,
it was... I said 6
you
weeks.
forget? No. You come. Hang on. If only there was a way.
Said,
You said to me, I was the one saying be positive. Your exact words on Thursday were, that's a load of shit. That's nonsense. We all know it's Boxing Day.
That happened.
That's what you said.
Because 6 weeks is Boxing
It
Day.
isn't.
It is.
It's not sick Boxing Day. It's literally the 26th of December.
He'll be back for Australia. Big, nice one.
He won't be back before. I think he'll be back. I honestly think he'll be available for all the games in November, all 3 of them. I think he'll miss October and be back. We've got someone in. We have obviously got someone. Just before Bournemouth, we've got a game. And then the 2 Bournemouth games. Leicester. He'll be back for Leicester. telling you now. He will be back for
John's
Leicester.
got a
John's got his hand up.
What they put on the website today, when does that period start? Did it start when
No, it started last week because it's definitely 6 weeks
It
out.
was 6 weeks last week, wasn't it? And they've said 4 to 5 weeks. But as also what they haven't took into account is, and this happens with a lot of players, is how quick a healer he is. He came back from his ankle injury, which he was supposed to be out till the start of pre-season. He was back a month earlier than he thought, and he went and played a couple of games for Scotland, albeit he had half a game. Yeah, he was involved when he had half a game and then something else before the end of the season, didn't he? Yeah, he might have been on for 15 minutes.
I don't think that's true.
I'm sure he was.
No, I don't think that's true.
Hang on.
He was supposed to get back for the qualifiers.
No, but he missed the
he never got
qualifiers.
back
Yeah,
for
but they had Nation League. Don't forget they were still playing in July. Hang on. Now you're going to have to make me do this, aren't you?
I query that.
All right, well...
5 weeks from now is the 2nd of November.
Yeah, he's back for Leicester, I'm telling you.
Well, we're going to get him on the 5th.
He's back for the 5th. He is in the squad for Leicester. I'm saying it now on September 20th.
Are you saying there's going to be fireworks when he returns?
I don't know, because it's bonfire night, so probably.
You went half Carragher, half Neville. Then.
Hey, you never know.
So you say he'll play 2 league games before the break?
Yeah. On the 28th of September.
I've already done one bet today.
Yeah, I've
which
done a
means that
bet.
If Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't involved on Saturday, I have to bring my ninja grill in next week and cook live on a podcast.
You are going full Phil Vickery.
Like that.
You're going to be the...
And I don't get anything out of this apart from a tasty toasty.
Actually, that's a lot. That's a lot to get out of a challenge, isn't it?
I'm not overjoyed at this.
I think it'll be interesting because I want to see you in action, like working as you're talking.
I have to wear a hat.
You have a hat, and we can have like a black glass of wine. I'll pretend it's Saturday morning.
I don't drink
kitchen.
glasses. Who drinks wine?
Did you
in
not
the
hear
morning?
a black glass of wine? So
So do they drink
Like
black
Mathew.
wines on Saturday morning?
No, they probably have real wine. Don't they?
Why?
They go, that's nice, because they've probably been up in makeup.
Who
since about 5 o'clock.
decided that Saturday morning should be about like celebrity cooks cooking food while someone who's got a song out that week, normally Mel C, is in the studio telling about going, yes, this tastes like
They don't. They love
why?
it.
What happened to Gordon the Gopher? What happened to that? What
Proper
happened to
Saturday morning
proper
TV.
Saturday morning TV where anyone?
And Deck and Cat Daly. Where's
I
Dave
was
gone?
on the other side. I was watching Live and Kicking.
Yeah, live and well, I mean, let's stay away from it. The no, it's all changed.
Yeah, that's all
It's changed. It's changed. People drink wine, and how fast can you make an omelette in the morning? Getting on the board for like 3 seconds. You know, what can you do? What can you
Not
do?
on board with that.
Campbell says get Gareth Barry out of retirement. Then he can go to Barcelona, score and be Barcelona. It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of moving
Feels
parts there.
forced.
Does feel forced. I don't think he would get in Barcelona's midfield, I'll be honest.
No.
But you
I
never
don't
know.
think they can allow to bring anyone into
No, I
the midfield,
think
are they?
even if he went for nothing, he would be...
Nothing.
they'd be struggling. Nothing.
Nothing.
Gary Ward says, howdy. Johnny
Hi.
Hickey says, travelling from Ireland in February for the Arsenal game.
Okay.
What's the best way to get tickets?
People always ask this, and I've got no idea
No.
because I'm a season ticket holder.
Is it worth joining the Everton members?
I'd
again?
imagine it probably is.
I've no idea. We're all season ticket holders. But
think-
John Blaine is saying yes, it's
I
worth it.
think
So,
that's your bet.
Get second dibs.
Yeah, I think it's your bet. Will they get first dibs?
Well, 'cause we already
We don't. We've already got
we've
our
already
tickets.
got our tickets. Yeah.
it's home games, yeah.
Yeah, I think being a member's probably the best way. Other than that, you could go
Also
on.
moves you up the season ticket.
Yeah, it does. It does. You might have one by 2047. Right, Pat is, and I'm thinking I know which Pat this is, and I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Which side are these headphones
I
on?
mean, what's happened here?
I don't know.
Ned's, hang on. Got to go through the loop.
There we go. Right,
That's the shoulder.
Hello.
There he is. He's here. I knew it was this Pat.
Yeah.
American Pat. American Pat.
Yeah, and our national team looks like utter poop.
Yeah, but we all knew that though. I mean, like you'd all maybe not you, Pat. I don't know whether you're that interested in the American team, but like Americans do look convinced of themselves that they've got a decent national team when really it's not very good. Would I be wrong in stating that fact?
Most people who follow this team were hoping for more progress over the last 2 seasons. I think McKinney's playing well at Juve, and Gio actually doesn't fall apart every 2 seconds.
Yeah, he got injured again, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
And Pulisic actually played a game, and it wasn't just Aronson and Adams trying to do everything, because they're the only two that are playing and probably will be remembered as the 2 best players on this team going forward, because they actually play games.
They play, don't they? That's the difference, isn't it?
And Aronson and Adams looked like they were tired of it. Aronson was getting kicked every 3 minutes when he came on, and he was on for like the 20 minutes.
Does play for Leeds though.
No, but I
think
one of the issues with the I know this is a weird some of this, but I think one of the issues with American players is that none of them seem to be quite playing at the level they should be playing at. Like Pulisic shouldn't really be at Chelsea, but he is, because he's a marketing tool. He should be somewhere else where he's starting every week.
He should be at Newcastle. He should have pushed for that move. He could be at least on the field.
I'd have him at Everton. So he should be playing somewhere else. And I think there's a couple of players a bit like that who just aren't, like the kid Dest who was at Barcelona. I think he's gone on loan now, hasn't he?
Didn't need to be there.
Like he shouldn't be at Barcelona. He's no way good enough to be at Barcelona. But it's almost that thing of like, let's get an American in our team because it's good for the marketing. And I think that's where some of the players need to. I mean, yeah, Weston McKennie's a little bit different. He has been playing for Juventus, but when they bought him, that felt like a bit of a marketing move as well. It's just that Juventus have sort of gone to his level now. But yeah, bit of a shame really, because obviously they're in England and Wales' group, aren't they? And is it Iran, the other team?
Yeah,
Iran.
That's the big game, isn't it? America versus Iran.
Yeah, it is. You know. It's the war crimes derby.
I think you can throw England in the hat in that one as well.
Don't worry.
Absolutely, that is definitely that's definitely the
Saudi Arabia in our group.
No. The Americans will be, when England play America, the American players will be walking around with just little pictures of pound coins, going, "We own these, son. These are not worth anything." But there you go. Good roundup from Pat. Have you got any actual Everton conversation, Pat? Or I
do.
Go on,
I
mate.
do. I just needed to get that off my chest.
Fair play.
The Patterson thing scared me. I was watching it, and because I was just happy to see it, I was excited to see maybe how Mykolenko and Patterson would kind of, have a little fun, see how they matched up against each other. It would have been a little bit of fun, but I hope that they wouldn't injure. Luckily, Mykolenko actually pulled out, because that could have been potentially at least Mykolenko and Patterson colliding on the same play.
Yeah.
Never good.
That's that is the benefit, of Mykolenko. Mykolenko was smart. He went into the game thinking, I'm not 100% here. There's 3 games this week. I'll miss this one. There's not enough Everton players who do that.
No.
Yeah, it was. So coming up this weekend, I think even Frank is the way he's talking in the press conferences. I think he's even nervous and unsure about what DCL's going to do on the pitch, because you're just afraid of him breaking again. It's like I don't know what other teams have their like injury prone player, but it's like with Yerry Mina. It's like he's gonna just by standing and shifting his weight, his leg's gonna explode, and you're just like, please, not this time again. Is he ever gonna get back to where he was 2 years ago?
I don't know. It's hard to say without him actually playing, is it? And that's the thing. Now we've got to get him on the pitch. I think we spoke about this, didn't we, towards the end of the deadline? I think personally we have to start looking past Dominic Calvert-Lewin now. I think we have to start looking at bringing in Dominic Calvert-Lewin's replacements, because if you can't get a lad on the pitch, if there's any kind of mental stop. It's something stopping him from getting on the pitch because he's not quite trusting his body. And I think this was a major part of what happened last season, is he never quite trusted his body. And I think that's maybe where he is at the moment, and he's being ultra cautious. Football doesn't stop. We haven't got time for players to be ultra cautious. We have to get a replacement in, as far as I'm concerned. We have to get someone who's equal to Dominic Calvert-Lewin if we can, or someone who can be equal to him over the next couple of years. Someone who mightn't be ready right now, but someone who takes the place of him. Someone who moves into that spot. I just don't think football clubs can wait for players to be fit, because the likelihood is, once it starts, I don't know whether you quite get a player right.
Yeah, the niggly injuries are the ones, because they don't then want to take chances. They start getting... He missed the game last season because he had sensation in his leg, remember? And it was... you start over-analysing every little twinge you get. And it's difficult because it's only really been like the last year that he's suffered with it. But the problem is, when he's not playing, it builds and builds, doesn't it?
For me, though, this started the back end of Carlo Ancelotti's last season, though. He got injuries, and now he got abductor injuries, and that's where it started, and then it's just got more and more. And obviously last season, John Blaine, you've got your hand up.
I just got a question for you guys.
Go on.
Yeah. In other sports, obviously some of them are contact sports, but not just ball playing ones, so not just the rugbies. Athletes get used to, quotes, playing with injuries, unquote. Do you think Premier League footballers are more to the
I don't think they are.
I think some are.
Leighton Baines once said that he played every single game with an injury.
But look at Delph, who I feel like I might sometime next week feel not so well.
Yeah.
Play today.
Yeah. No, John, basically Pat John's saying the Premier League footballers turn round now and say, "Oh, I've got a bit of an injury, I'm not playing." And whereas I guess 5-10 years ago they just got on with it. Although I was saying today about Les Ferdinand, and you mentioned Louis Shahar, they were two incredibly talented footballers, but both of them would feel something and go, "I can't play for 4 weeks because I need to be right."
I think players need to know their own bodies, and Yerry Mina came out at the end of the season and said that he'd made a massive mistake playing for Everton when Frank Lampard first came in, because he knew that he was close to being injured, but said he was going to put his body on the line for him. Or it mightn't have been that. It might have been the second injury, the one he got at Leicester. And he said that I should never have played in that, but I wanted to make an impact. One. And I think players should know what their own bodies are and whether they should play or not. But then that's Yerry Mina's fault for playing 3 games in a week for Colombia last October, where it started. But I think there's a difference between a player knowing his own body and his own limitations than players starting to be fearful of playing because of what it could lead to. I think they're two different things. I think if you know your limitations as physically, that actually that sort of strengthens your hand in how often you can play.
It's not good for a team trying to build, is it?
No, it's not. But it's not always about that, is it? It's some players are really, really valuable and can play in certain games. I think the problem for me is if a player mentally thinks I am going to get injured today, and therefore, or I am terrified I'm going to get injured today, and therefore I'm not playing. I think that's where problems really, really start to happen when it's in their head. That's the worst injury you can have.
I guess the answer, Pat, is he'll only get through this by playing and playing and playing. Really, it's the only way.
So I'll give you an insight into why I think in American sports you can get away with it. Because in all but baseball in baseball there's unlimited subs, but you can't come back on, right? Hockey, you come right onto the rink. Football, you can sub every play. You don't play a lot of active minutes. I think that football, soccer is different because you're playing at most you can only change half the team. You can only do it once, and that's just this year. That's true in the Premier League. That's been true in other European leagues, but for a while longer now. But the fact that you can get, let's say a guy who isn't going to be that fit, but he's only going to be on the ice for 8 minutes. Sure, he can probably get through it. But if a guy's going to have to be on the pitch for 60 minutes at the very least before you're comfortable with sub, or even 45 minutes, and be constantly moving in a constantly high stamina game like football, that's the difference, I think, of why you see that. Baseball is probably actually a more comparable thing. because you pay. It's not that it's more taxing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's that you play 162 regular season games, and those niggling injuries don't go away.
Pat, I'll tell you
And that's
another.
where
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'll tell you another reason why players in like the NFL don't get as injured as much. Because if a player gets injured in the NFL and he's out for any longer than, you'll know this more than me, and he's out for any longer than, say, 6 weeks or 2 months, he just gets cut.
Yeah.
If
and
he's if he's not the most important player on the pitch, they just kick him out. They don't care.
Yeah.
They just get rid of them in American sports because their contracts mean that players have to.
That's only true in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, in the NFL. In the NFL, they just cut them out. They just kick them out. They just and that's not really fair considering NFL is a God. I mean, we know you've seen some of the injuries that happen in that.
Impact
but if you're not a
league,
big player in the NFL, you just get kicked out. And don't get me wrong, I don't want that in football. You got to have job security to a point, but you know,
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he'll be back, and his next spell he'll be able to get through games and get the confidence back in his body. And if he does that, he should be fine because he's a fit lad.
Hopefully.
Yeah, to your point, Baz, about when you were talking with the market insights guy about data, I was looking at McNeil's stuff, and he's actually like a pretty decent crosser of the ball. And I think that the whole concept Frank was putting together was based on feeding Dom, and that's, I think, where McNeil is the only thing he's really excellent at is that, and it feels like he's otherwise pretty wasted.
I don't know if you saw this picture, but Everton put a picture out about when, I think a couple of days ago, or maybe when you were away, but it showed him kicking the ball with his right foot.
Oh,
So he's practicing.
There you go. See,
better.
I know, but we spent like the other day going on about it, saying that he's got to start practicing with his right foot.
There you go. He's obviously watched,
Obviously
and Everton have took the picture to show that he is practicing with his right foot. So well played.
There you go.
Right.
There
Fair
you
play.
go.
Good professionalism. I like it.
Pat, excellent call again, my friend. It's always good to get you on. I know you're trying to start the ball rolling, so thanks for giving us a call, mate.
No problem.
Top man, Pat.
Cheers, mate. See you later, Pat.
Take care,
Cheers,
Pat.
mate.
Ta-ra, mate.
Top man, Pat. Follow Pat. Follow Pat there.
Wherever he goes. So just, again, I knew I was right, but I'll just give you the confirmation. Nathan Patterson returned. He played 14 minutes in June.
Oh, yeah.
He played 14 minutes against Armenia on the 8th of June. He didn't play against Ireland on the 11th. He was sub. And then he played 64 minutes against Armenia on the 14th of June. And had an assist. So there you go. So he returned quicker.
I did forget about the Nations League.
Yeah, he did return quicker. So hopefully on the bigger pitch, the bigger scale of things, that he'll get the treatment now, Finch Farm and all that, and that 5-6 weeks can be whittled down to 3 or 4 weeks, and we get him back at the end of October. Seamus, come in and do his job for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and see how we go. Mark says, lads, did you hear Billy Elettanov has been called up to the army?
Yeah. Seen that before.
Yeah.
Even though he's like too old and all kinds, he's been called up for the army.
That's weird.
That's a sad state of
that
affairs.
Is grim. That is grim.
What a world we live in.
MGN 7999 says, I think the same Baz, he'll be back at the end of October, looking at his track record of returning ahead of schedule with that. So, yeah. Well, fingers crossed, isn't it? That's all we can see.
That's all you can do.
That's all we can see. Where are we there? Just on the other one. Dick says, good to see the Housewives' favourite back. Says, I'm sorry if it offends a lot of Everton fans, but I like Tom Davies. In fact, I think he's boss. I'm thankful to have him as a squad player. I'm more than happy to see him step in if there's an injury in midfield. And in fact, I'd be okay with him playing at right back. Get off his back. Why would he play? He's not going to play at right back, is he? It's just not going to happen, Dick. But yeah, he's a squad player.
A lot of people have mentioned that. We've mentioned that in the past, but I think as things have moved on, I don't think that's his position. His position now is the backup number 6, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
And with Allen gone, I think he's got a clear run on it. If you're playing a defensive number 6, I think James Garner is a deep line midfielder who can play that version of a 6. But if you want to back up, and we've seen him in the Merseyside derby, he did an excellent job.
Tom Davies, yeah.
Did an excellent job. Well. So I don't know why people have a go. People just have a go on because they want to have a go on him because he's trying to save the world or something, or he's on a skateboard or something. But right, we've got Chris on the line. Is it guitar Chris? I wonder.
Possible.
Hello,
It's
Chris.
possible.
You need to take your mic off mute.
Take your mic
Take
off
your
mute, Chris.
mic off mute. Chris. Tell him in the chat now. Nah, in the chat.
Never mind, chat.
Never mind chat. He's on video. I mean, that's no good
That's
to
no
us,
good,
is it? Considering we haven't got any video and this is basically audio.
Campbell says, welcome back, Baz, and also says, get Gareth Barry out of retirement.
Have we got Chris?
Is this me, lads?
That's you, Matt. That's you, Chris. That's definitely you.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I didn't realise you were speaking to it. I'm new to it, so I'm a new
Okay.
Okay, mate.
Oh, good man, good man.
So
good man.
I weren't actually sure, Joe, when you just like Chris.
How many Chris's are there? There you go.
Go on, mate.
Go on, mate.
No, so it was just basically, lads, just to introduce myself.
Okay.
Just wanted to say I love all the content that you've put out. I recently joined as a Patreon member, and it was basically just to touch base with yourselves, really. Just talk Everton.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Yeah.
Yeah. Not in particular, but there is one little matter that I wanted your opinion on, really.
Go on, mate.
I don't know about yourselves, but I've seen a lot of people now on Twitter over the last couple of days given Patterson's injury, and even though it's not as bad as it first feared, obviously he's still going to be out for a number of games, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm totally against the formation change, and I've noticed a lot of people saying now's the time to go back to 3 at the back, play like the 3-4-3 system that he was playing towards the back end of the season. But for me, I couldn't think of anything worse, if I'm honest.
Mm. No, we've just done the preview, which will be on Premier tonight, and we said the same thing. Why make multiple changes, or why make a formation change for one player? Surely, if you've got a backup for that one player, you just bring his backup into the team, and that's basically what most teams do. I know some players are more special than others, and different. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a different kind of striker to Maupai and that kind of thing. There are players who play. You don't just. You wouldn't. We were in a situation where we were swapping like Onana, bringing Tom Davies onto the pitch. That we want to get away from that. I think we can now. But certainly for a right back, for me, Seamus Coleman should just be the right back for the next few weeks. Injuries and fitness pending. But yeah, just Seamus Coleman just go into it. Certainly for Saturday anyway. Play him on Saturday and see what happens. And past that, I don't really see any point in starting to make changes.
Well, there's no point in playing 3. It's not. The other thing as well is it's not like Ben Godfrey's fit. Yeah. Or Yerry Mina. So you go, they come straight in. Are we really? We're going to put Seamus as the third centre back and then play who? Then play Iwobi. Yeah. As a wing back or Damari Gray or something. No, not at all. Just 4-3-3. Put Seamus in at right back. And take it from there, because we've been doing well with the 4-3-3.
Absolutely. And as well, you would hope that we've got a lot more defensive solidarity behind him now, as well. Last season, I know people were very critical of his age and his performances, but this is the position that we've always wanted to be in, really, where we just wanted to use him sparingly.
Yeah, the solidity's there now through Connor Cody and through Tarkowski, isn't it? And we've also got a very active midfield, whereas we've had maybe a slower midfield, and I think a lot of people are used to their position now. And we may well have Jordan Pickford back as well at the weekend, fingers crossed. So yeah, I think Seamus will be fine. It's for a short period of time. I think he's strong enough and fit enough. He knows the role. Very good 1v1. It'd just be like for like for me with Seamus.
Yeah. And just going back there, I was just listening to what you were saying there about Tom Davies. And obviously, like you said, he seems to be like that player that we always have done. He's like, obviously, throughout, you could probably handpick a couple of players that we all sort of refer to as being that one player that we sort of just get on. We're just waiting for him to make a mistake so that we can just pounce on him. Yeah. The only thing I would say, I always feel Tom Davies is that he's been let down by the club in the sense that when he came through, he had something that sort of Ross Barkley didn't, or he just had that something. I thought, he's got something, this lad. He's got something that we've never seen before, apart from Wayne Rooney, obviously, where he was just going to excel. But I just think that given the inconsistency with the managers, the different sort of style of play, if you want to call any of them style of play, just being pushed around here, there and everywhere, he's been a waste of talent for me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Evertonians sort of get angry with him because he's not turned out into the player that we thought he was going to be. But I don't think it's solely on him either.
No. I think Tom Davies is genuinely fearless when he's on the ball. He takes it under pressure and he has no problem. And sometimes that can cause him problems because he hasn't got that turn of pace naturally to get away from people. But for me, the person who let him down most was Ronald Koeman because he broke into the side and he just needed to be, a player who was given a chance. And Ronald Koeman brought in players who played in his position. And basically it was like, well, you're just a kid. We don't really need you. I want to go and bring in all these shiny players. And it stopped his progression. He suddenly went from being maybe the backup midfielder to third or fourth down the line. And what I think is great about Tom, and other people mightn't like this, but he's seen off all those people. He's seen off all those managers. Every manager's played him. He's seen them all off. He's seen all the players off who've come in, and he's still standing. And I think the thing with Tom is, he's not amazing. We all appreciate that, but he's still a player I think you need in your squad, around your squad. As I said in the derby, I thought he was brilliant, and it's for me it would only have been someone like a Garner who would have took Tom Davies's place. It needed to be someone who was had authority, who obviously an excellent player as well. And that, I suppose that's like the story, isn't it, of Tom? I remember under Carlo when he came in as the number 6 when Alan got injured at Leicester, and he had a good little run, and then soon as Alan came back, he was basically shafted out the team. And he was Alan came back against Burnley. We got beat 2-1 at Goodison, I think, and he kept Tom in the team, but he moved him sort of slightly higher up the pitch and put Alan in the 6, and it didn't work. He should have just left Tom in the 6. So he's easy to take out the team. He's easy to not give a game. But to fair play to the kid, he's still in there. And obviously, I think his contract's up for renewal. Has he got 1 year left? This will be dead interesting now to see whether Frank Lampard gives him another contract, or Kevin Felwell. And obviously they were prepared to give John Joe Kenny a new contract, so they might be similar with Tom. They might go, you're not on massive wages, you're a great kid to have around the club, you're a good trainer, you're a good influence, you know the club, so let's keep hold of you. And you're not a demanding player either. So, and I don't think he's quite as good as Leon Osman was, but there are similarities between him and Leon Osman in terms of just a general attitude, and I think he can be a bit of a leader as well and inspire some of the younger kids to go, you can make it, and all right, you mightn't be here playing every single week, but Tom still gets 20 odd games under his belt every season, so that's not a bad position to be in.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you mentioned the Leon Osman situation there, because I always think with some players, Tom Davies could be an example of this, is where you just push them onto the stage too early. Yeah. And if you can remember with Leon Osman, I always felt it took Leon Osman years to play for Everton's first team. He was getting spoke about for years, and he only came through really when sort of we were struggling.
Well, he got a bad injury, didn't he? And then he got a couple of loans. He went to Carlisle and Derby loved him, and then he came into the team. But he made an impact, Leon Osman, when he came into the team. I think he scored on his debut, didn't he, against Wolves? But we got beat 2-1.
Wolves away, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he was a little bit like Tom. He was like a player that there was no point ever selling because there was not loads of money about. He was always good for a goal. He was always good for assist. He'd play anywhere. And he was a good character, and he ended up playing his entire career at Everton. And I'd imagine Tom Davies might be similar. He might end up playing his whole career at Everton. He mightn't get to the levels that some of us thought he was going to get. But I mean, people, I think, you forget this as a lad who's an Evertonian, playing for Everton, lives in his own city, he's got more to life than just being a footballer. And if he ends up playing a whole career at Everton, that's not a bad way to spend your 20s. And he'll have plenty of the rest of his life to go and do what he wants to do.
Tom Davies is a decent squad player, and that's it. That's the way it is. He was fearless. He was let down by Koeman. Managers didn't really know what to do with him. He's got to take some blame himself as well. Could he have been better than what he is? Possibly. But he is what he is, and every squad needs a player who can come in and do a job. And when I was a boy, we had Alan Harper and Kevin Richardson, who were two very good footballers, but they were also in for 2 games, and no matter how well they done, they were back out when the others were fit, and that might have been a little bit harsh on them. And Richardson moved on and showed what a good player he was by winning the league with Arsenal as well. And Alan Harper I thought was brilliant, but just at times, and then we've seen players. Ozzy's a good one really, because a lot of supporters didn't think Ozzy was good enough. I had my moments with Leon Oz when I didn't think he was quick enough for Everton, but as a squad player who would come in and do a job and get goals, he was excellent, and you need that. You can't have 25 amazing football. We just can't. You need some reliable players who will just work hard.
I think the thing that helped Osman as well, Baz as well, because of the way Moyes had us set up, any player that came into that starting 11 knew what was required of them week in, week out.
Yeah.
It was a settled structure and about how we wanted to go about winning football matches. Now, I'm hoping the start of the season, we're starting to see that with Lampard a bit. You could see what we're trying to do against Liverpool.
Yeah.
You could definitely see what we're trying to do against West Ham. Now, like you're saying, and something that we've lacked in the past is just players to be able to come in for 2 to 3 games and just play well.
Yeah.
They're not going to be the guaranteed starting 11 because they're not quite good enough. But when someone's injured for 3 weeks, or someone's suspended, or someone just needs to be took out the game for free, took out the starting lineup for 2 weeks or whatever, you have players like this that can just come in for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and just perform like Davies did at the start of the season.
Yeah, and
that's what people need to realise as well.
There's obviously better options than Tom as well, and that, again, like I said, he's decent. I slightly disagree with you in terms of he was going to be like better than Barkley. I think Ross Barkley is a better footballer than Tom Davies. I think he's the talent and everything. But Tom Davies is just different, that's all. Tom Davies is just a different type of footballer. Barkley was incredible, but just sadly, his decision making never improved. And that might be again.
That was, I just thought he lacked a football brain. I thought Tom Davies had more of a football brain than him. I thought Barkley was technically better than him.
It is important. Everyone, I mean, Wayne's got a different view. Wayne totally disagrees about Davies. I see so many fans making excuses. He's had 6 years and 150 games. You can't keep blaming managers. He's never been first choice for a team that's mid-table, bottom half for the last few years. That's on him. He's not better than Barkley. No, Wayne, but I think the other thing as well is fans maybe have to accept he's a better player than what you see.
Yeah.
If he's had 6 managers and they've all played him, he must be a decent footballer, mustn't he? Yeah. Really. Yeah. People used to go on about Nikola Vlasic and the Adamola Luckman and these players don't last very long and they're back out. Yeah. So I think Tom Davies is a better footballer than a lot of fans give him credit for. And he's just a squad player. And at some stage he'll have a decision to make. Yeah, yeah. And that decision will be, do I want to remain at Everton where I play 20 games a season involved in it, or do I want to go and maybe get in somewhere's first team and be one of the starters in maybe a team on the lower level? I don't know, but that's up to Tom. But right now he's a decent squad player.
Chris, thanks for your call, mate.
Cheers, Chris. Good to chat, mate.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Take care, mate. Bye now.
Bye.
The mad thing about Tom Davies is most games he does well in, and then it's like people go, he's terrible. It's like, yeah, but if he did all right in that game, and that game, he's not terrible. Do you know what I mean? It's like he comes on, does a job. People have just got this thing in their head that he's absolutely terrible. But it must be really hard for a player as well, that it's like, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out.
It's hard to get a rhythm. And the thing with Tom Davies is, even when he does all right, some people tell you he's crap. Yeah. So it's not, listen, like I've just said, for me, he's probably about the 6th choice midfielder we've got, but he's a decent squad player. So he'll have a decision to make, won't he? And
that's it.
You know, he's a player that, I'd say, low maintenance, works hard, good, honest kid. There you go. Have a look at a few of these. Paul says, "What's the black and yellow shirt hanging up?" We sponsor Aintree Boys. It's a Dortmund top. So yeah, that's what that is. Aintree BVB. Ruben de Souza says, "I remember seeing Tom score a goal against City and thinking he was going to be someone who scores a few a season." Well, that's the thing. He probably the worst thing he could have done was that goal, which was absolutely brilliant on the day. But it sets you. It sets you up in your mind thinking he's a different type of player than he was. But then, like Ped said, Koeman basically destroyed him. Koeman, he was in every week, playing every week and really developing well that season. And we got to the summer. Not only did we buy players we didn't need, and too many of them, when we come back to pre-season training, Koeman basically just pushed them to the side, didn't even sit down with him and explain to him what was going on and what his thinking for him was. He just basically shoved them in the back of him and go and train over there on your own or whatever and wreck the lad's confidence. And listen, that isn't the only reason, because he's a big lad. It's football, it's cutthroat. When you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, no one's interested in you. That's the way footy is. He's probably had to do a bit more himself, and he's maybe not done it at times, but he's a decent footballer. But Everton have got good options in midfield now, so there you go. Paul Brady also says Naismith was the same, wasn't the best, but did the job. Holgate's been doing it for years. You need these players. You need these players. So Dick says, I'm not saying he's injury prone, or is he? But it sounds like you are. But Patterson has been injured more than he's been available since joining Everton. I mean, that isn't true, to be fair, but fair enough.
I mean, it's always good to look on the bright side of things.
Dick's always a glass half full man. Always. He sees rain and thinks it's lovely that the plants are getting fed. Not. But yes, also says nice assist for Anthony Gordon last night. Everton fans won't give him any credit, but I'm a fan.
I don't watch England, so couldn't care less.
It was a good assist. I think a lot of people have given credit. Carla says, brilliant message from Hummel for the Denmark shirt. I kind of want to buy one because of it.
They are really nice. I wish they'd done that. I wish they'd done that with one of our yellow kit this season. Remember I said they should have done the Hummel badge in yellow, so it was just the tower. And also the sponsor just in yellow as well, so that it was just the tower really stood out.
Steak would have accepted that, but yeah, would have been nice.
Steak.
Well, he's paid the money, so they wouldn't have it. But yeah, they could have had like the thing, the chevrons in yellow and the tower in yellow on the Hummel badge would have been nice.
Or even if they just brought out a special edition.
People complaining that. Milking people for money. That's what they say.
You don't have to buy both. You don't
have to get a lot of things, but people do like to have a complaint and moan about it.
I mean, yeah, but the problem is too many people complain about the people who are complaining. Just ignore them.
Campbell said that's what happened to Andre Gomez. He came back from his lengthy injury. It made him chicken-hearted. I think he means the worry of the injury. He's never been able to rediscover it, has he? Gaz says, just seeing that the Rugby Super League are looking to bring in that bigger teams are protected from relegation while other teams in the league are not. I can imagine a certain 6 Premier League owners. I think what you're forgetting there, though, Gaz, is that's not a proper sport. No, and no one's really interested. Cares. No one cares about it. Really it's literally on the level of underwater dominoes. That's probably bigger actually than what rugby is, I think. I feel like it might be. I don't know that for sure, but I feel like it might be. Yeah. Ball's not even round.
St. Helens become the champions this week, and
did they?
No one cares.
Didn't even
and it's actually there. I mean, we've got someone who they don't even go out on the ale in St. Helens, so that's how bad it is.
Yeah. If I only Ashton and Makerfield had for rugby team.
If only.
Be all over it.
Right, we've got Brad on the line. Brad, are you there? Yeah, we can hear you, Brad. Go on. Get you.
Loud and clear?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hey, I'm in the Wi-Fi now, so
yes.
I got good connection.
Yes, no tractors today.
Yep. So, what I wanted to talk about a few things, and Pat touched on it a little bit earlier, was like Dwight McNeil. I feel like he's getting a lot of stick because I feel like the reason that we purchased him was because he creates a ton of chances. Except we're playing him on the right wing where he has to cut in to the inside to get the ball on his left foot because he cannot use his right foot.
Yeah.
So at what point are we going to actually play him on the left and tell him drive to the byline and just put the ball in the box?
When Dominic
that's what he was bought for.
When Dominic Calvert-Lewin is playing, I would imagine. Because you're right, you're absolutely right. You know, we saw last season a situation where the manager brought in 2 players to do exactly the same thing, and there wasn't any plan B. It was get the ball in the box and get either Dom in the air, which is more Townsend's job, or get the ball on the floor, which was what Damari Gray's job was. Unfortunately, the main component of that was injured all season. So you're absolutely right. He will be there to be brought in to be getting the ball in the box, a different kind of player to what we've already got. We've got different kind of wingers. We've got Anthony Gordon, who likes to try and beat a person. We've got Damari Gray, who likes to stand them up and then beat them for pace and then put it across. And with Townsend being injured and probably he'll leave at the end of this season, the manager probably thought, Kevin Felber probably thought, you've got to have a different player, someone who can put the ball in, whether it's a set piece or whether it's a cross to service Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the main striker. But unfortunately, Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't been available, so we've not seen the best of Dwight McNeil yet. So that's probably why, and they'll have used all the numbers, they'll have crunched all the, they'll analysed it, and these are the things that fans don't see, and yet we still moan because we're fans. But I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. He will have a purpose. We just don't see it at the moment because, I mean, at the moment, he's a bit of a defensive sub, isn't he, really? You bring him on when you want to see a game out or keep a clean sheet. But I think you're right. I think once Dom gets hopefully back, we'll see another side of Dwight McNeil.
And then, another, kind of sub-point of that is that, you were talking about it with Tom Davies. I feel like, and then with Patterson being out, everybody's talking about, can we play Mason Holgate at right back? What is people's fascination with shoehorning players into positions they're not good at? I can't remember who was it that said if you judge a fish by how well it can climb a tree,
probably Dr. Seuss. No, you are.
How come everybody's sleeping on Seamus Coleman? We have a backup right back that was our first choice right back last season, and nobody everybody forgets about the fact that he can play 6-8 games.
Yeah,
it's just the problem has always been his legs are dead, and we've had to play him 30 games a season and had no substitute for him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've heard people say, put Iwobi there, and it's well, why would you put... Iwobi's has had a great start of the season, man of the match nearly every single game. Why would you suddenly move him to right back just because, okay, you've got different midfielders who can come in? It's you've got a backup right back, just use him. And hopefully, fitness-wise, Seamus can play. Whether he can play every single game during that period of time, because there is a midweek game, I don't know. But surely if we are a club that is heading in the right direction, we'll have sports scientists and all the other stuff that will be right, you look like you need a day off today.
Yeah.
You need a couple of days off. Go and refresh yourself ahead of the game on Saturday or Sunday or whatever it is. And yeah, he was our starting right back last season. And I think people are just so quick to just get rid of it. And you look over the park, and the example to me is someone like James Milner, who, okay, maybe this season hasn't been up to it, but the last few years has filled in loads of positions and still looks like fit as anything. And maybe Seamus mightn't be quite at those levels. I think the broken legs took something away from him, but he's still got plenty to give. He's not our starting right back, and I think we all know that's the right thing at his age. He's got something to give, so he'll go out there, he'll be professional, do his job, and hopefully, we are as tight as we have been with Nathan Patterson. So, I think you're right, Brad. I don't know what the fascination is with starting to move and changing formations as well. That's the mad one. I don't get that. One for one player, changing a formation for one player.
I've seen people say put Finagri at right back and everything. It's come on.
Kid can't defend. He can't defend at left back.
Finagri can't even get on the pitch as a left back.
But he can't. That's what I'm saying. He can't
that's
defend.
His position. Well, he's an attacking left back, isn't he? But that's the way it is. It is what it is. It's just Seamus Coleman, like you've just said, Brad, he's good enough to play. He's good enough to play a short amount of games. He's coming to the end. He knows it. We know it. And I'm quite sure Everton are looking for the next right back to be the backup to Nathan Patterson. And if Patterson keeps going and gets better and better and better, there'll be clubs wanting Nathan Patterson. So you have to have that continuity. But Seamus Coleman right now, I think it'd be fine for a few games. Obviously, if it becomes 20, 30, then yeah, you've got an issue there. But like you said, I think Patterson will be back for the November games.
Hopefully,
yeah,
fingers
so,
crossed.
Definitely. definitely. The basic trick says Milner has got asthma, though.
Yeah,
You're forgetting that.
Yeah. Anything else?
Everybody that plays over there
Yeah,
has asthma,
yeah.
don't they?
Oh, God. Absolutely.
Anything more to add, Brad?
And then talked about the U.S. national team. As an American,
Yeah.
I feel like our team is ridiculously young
Yeah,
and not very good. We were lucky to make the World Cup,
Yeah.
but I think this is a good experience for all those players all around.
Yeah.
Like that, maybe like we're not going to be. We're hardly ever going to make it out of the group stage. We're definitely not making out of the groups this year.
Well,
but like,
the thing is, though,
I don't know.
you've got the World Cup in 4 years, so if this
That's where the plan needs
this
to
team
be.
that you've got right now gets some experience players in the World Cup, sticks together. You've got the World Cup in 4 years. It's on your turf. Your fans will be obviously such a passionate fan base in America and a lot of people treat the national team as their first team and their club. I know you don't, Brad, but as their second team. So the passion is there. The team, the fan base is there for the national team. So in 4 years' time, this might be perfect. Going to getting in a group stage with a couple of decent teams and England and having a real good go, and then it's just good experience, isn't it? Like you said, it's such a young side, a lot of emerging players, and there'll be more in the next 4 years that are going to come through, and this is great experience. I think sometimes because Americans want to be the best at everything. I fully appreciate that, and this isn't a sport that you're the best in. But in 4 years' time and home turf, who knows? Because the last time you had it, you did all right as well, didn't you? So let's see what happens.
You can draw parallels. We're building. We're slowly building.
Yeah.
About positivity.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go.
That's all it's about.
There you go. Right. Cheers.
Brad,
Cheers,
good to
Brad.
speak.
See you later, mate.
Take care, mate.
Brad is always full of positives. Good lad.
He's a good lad. Diane's just not having Tom Davies, which is fine. Everyone's got their own opinion. Professional managers who've been in the game for years have decided that he's good enough. Otherwise, they'd have chased him. He'd have never got all the contracts. He'd never play. Some people are defending him, which is fine. But the problem that you're saying things like, this is the problem with Blues, we celebrate shite. I don't think anyone's celebrating. You're talking about
being appreciative.
Well, I think you're talking about he'd be sixth choice midfielder, really. After Garner and James Garner and Decore, he's probably number 6. Why?
But can we?
Why are we getting so worked up?
Let me ask you a
that?
question though. Do we look at things as in 6th choice anymore? Isn't he effectively the second choice defensive midfielder, depending on which way we're going to play?
That just depends, because I actually think that. James Garner will get him before.
No, but I know. But if you wanted it to be a defensive sort of minded game, would you put? I'd personally put Tom Davies in as a hold midfielder before I put Decore in there, because I don't think he sits.
Yeah.
James Garner's a different kind of player because he's a ball player. He'll take the ball, and that's where we are hoping to evolve to.
Well, that's where Carsley played them last night for the 21s, didn't he? Yeah. So I just think people are. Everyone's got their own opinion, but for me, he's number. Like I said, he's a sub. That's what he is. And that's where you go with it. Yeah, that's it. 5 subs. He's a sub to do bits and pieces. It'll be on him. It'll be on him. What he does. He's never. For me, I just don't see a situation where he becomes Everton a starter every week. I just don't see it, because I think the game is maybe slightly moved to what Tom hasn't got, which is dynamism and power. But then. It's horses for courses, and someone might turn around and say he's absolutely perfect for what we need because he does this role. Carlo Ancelotti thinks you're good enough to play in the 6. He's one of the most decorated managers ever. Then who sees him up close every day. Then maybe fans should go. Well, they get to see him all the time.
I don't know why people get worked up about him. He plays. He doesn't play,
and he does his job.
Yeah.
This year he's been good, but then. Alex Iwobi, a couple of people have mentioned Iwobi. I imagine you were saying Iwobi wasn't very good either, Diane, because we would.
I did.
Oh, well, everyone questioned Alex Iwobi. Anyone who sits there and goes, "I didn't question him," they're lying, because everybody questioned it. he's had a brilliant 6 months. A brilliant 6 months. But everybody... Everybody's had a really... everybody knows he's had a really good 6 months.
John, we'd have no players left if you were given the contracts.
And 2 months...
No players left.
2 months of that was pre-season, wasn't it? He's had a really good spell and it's brilliant, and I want him to keep getting better and better. Not saying Tom Davies is going to do the same, by the way, because I think Iwobi's got physically better attributes. He's quicker, he's stronger, he's bigger. But Tom Davies he's a decent squad player. That's how I see him. I don't see it as anything else.
Just a squad player. Just an innocent
Some
squad
people
player.
lose it over him. They lose it. You're accepting crap.
You need to have.
And yet we'll clap other players who aren't that good.
But
It's
you need
weird.
to have. You need to have 9 subs
Eh?
every game. You have to. And there's this thing, and we experience it every summer, where it's like, get rid of him. It's like, if you got rid of every player that we want to get rid of, you'd have no players left. Don't get me wrong. If Everton get an opportunity to bring in a really good number 6, go, this kid is going to be amazing, and in 2 years' time, he's going to take the place of Gisagana Gay, and that's going to force Tom Davies maybe out the club. Then that's what happens. That is football. That is football.
You'd always want to get better.
You were talking earlier on at players like Osman.
Yeah.
And then you've got other, let's call them average, good professionals, journeymen.
Yeah.
Tony Hibbert types.
Yeah.
You've got to have players in your squad who are not going to pitch and whinge when they're not in the
Of course.
You have a squad full of, starters on the bench, and it's a great
It's a
place
problem.
to be, but you have to actually be competing at the top for every single competition to even stand a chance of
Klopp, Jurgen Klopp, whether you like him, don't like him, whatever, you can't deny he's a good manager. He says he hates having more than 18 play. He hates it because you can't keep them. It can't keep them happy.
Yeah.
They start talking when they're not playing. You have a squad of 25 players, 14 of them ain't starting. So you've got more than the players you can keep happy are the ones you can't keep happy. So the minute you aren't winning, like you just said, it all starts.
And we've seen this before. What happens? 2 or 3 of them get together. Morales, Snidlin, and it starts infecting the team.
Yeah.
People start getting bitchy. Then it's like, oh, how much are you earning and all that. And that's suddenly. And don't forget, 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Sam Allardyce said it was the worst dressing room he's ever been in.
Walked into,
he said the worst dressing room. Clicks all over the place. People have been brought in from different people. There's harmony. Just if the manager turns around and goes, I want to get rid of Tom Davies, that's it. It's fine.
Done.
If you believe in your manager, then that's what you do. If the manager says, I like Tom, he's a good squad player, he's no trouble. Every day works his bollocks off, which means that Ghana Gay has got to work twice as hard to get in my team now. Isn't that what we all want? Isn't that every day? Footballers go to work 5 days a week and then play a game on a Saturday.
Yeah.
People don't think, do they, that indirectly one of the jobs of the second choice is to keep the first choice on his toes.
Yeah. Well, another, like we were talking about NFL before, it's literally called the practice squad, the second team. It's to push the players hard every day.
There's a guy waiting for your place.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you get injured, he'll come in then and take your place.
Of course,
because he's been amazing on the practice team, and they get paid to be on the practice team. They might never, ever play in the first team, but they get paid. Or in college, they're in the and that's like a, best example was Rudy, and we've all seen that. I mean, you haven't seen that film.
What will Wally get his cans on? You talk about, and I think you're right, the club, I think, would offer a new contract to Tom Davies. Do you think he might think of moving himself?
Well, he's
Come January, he's just turned
24.
150 games with this club. He knows he's not first choice.
Yeah.
Does he want game time? Does he want to almost reinvent himself as the hidden player you were talking about before by going into a team where he's going to play every week?
Well, I can't answer that, can I?
If it's lowly paid, you might even get more money somewhere else.
Exactly. So that's up to him, isn't it? That's on him. If he turns around and thinks, I need to play now. I'm 24. I need to play. I'm not going to be first choice at Everton. They're bringing in good midfielders who are a different, younger and powerful. And, we've just seen Alan, who didn't really want to leave. Had nowhere to go. The manager wanted them out, so he'll make that decision. If Tom Davies looks at it and goes, I'm not playing here. Frank Lampard might look and go, Tom, listen, we'd want you to stay. You're a good squad player. But
It's also blocking the pathway.
it's different then. And then you've got Lewis Warrington, who's on loan, who's 19, 20, who will have an idea. Tyler Onyango, who's 6'5", if he fills out and gets a little bit of consistency, could be exactly what Everton wants in there. Onana's 21. You know, it might be better for everyone if Tom Davies moves on, but you've got to have an offer. He's got to have an offer. Everton have got to have an offer.
Free agents in the summer.
Yeah, so he might turn around and go, you know what, I've played for my hometown, you know, my team, my boyhood club. I love it. I've got an offer to go. I don't know.
Germany?
Burns, you know, wherever, somewhere there with them. I can still live at home in that area, and I've had a great time playing for Everton. I'm still an Evertonian all my life and all that, but I want to go and play. Everyone will go, Sam, mate, off you go. Good luck, hope you do well. Have a good career.
He'll become a better player.
Well, of course you will. But off you go, and that's it. It's people just get very wound up with it. I mean, the greatest comments ever is from Tricky, who said he can't believe that I quoted Carlo, the same Carlo who killed Iwobi. Did he? He gave him a few games. And Tricky stuck up for Alex Iwobi. We were wrong. Everyone was wrong, but Tricky, he stuck up.
Tricky and Ryan, that was it?
Who knows? Well, maybe maybe Tricky did. I don't know, but I'm guessing he didn't all the time.
Tricky never picked me up from the airport. I'm not asked. Right, Loz, we've got Loz on the line. Loz, are you there?
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, go on, mate. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We were ranting on then. Go on.
No, it's all right. It's enjoyable. It's just what you think about, just a quick one. So just think that we might struggle in our first season in Bramley-Moore. The reason I say that is all you hear about when other players talk about Everton's atmosphere at all. Oh, it's dead tight. The crowds are on top here. Because it is such a small stadium, I think it's quite easy to build an atmosphere. You know, all it takes is the referee to make a bad decision, and that's it. The atmosphere turns. Obviously, helping the players, and it's all right for clubs like, you know, City and Liverpool who have bigger stadiums. They can have a crap atmosphere because they've got a team full of world-class players, so it doesn't really affect them as much. But I think with us, with our away form being not great, and it hasn't been for a number of years, and probably won't improve for a while, just think that we might sort of not have, you know, an amazing start in Bramley-Moore until everyone gets settled and maybe we get some stuff sorted out. What I'm asking is, do you think we need a drummer in Bramley-Moore Dock?
We definitely don't need a drummer. No. Definitely don't need a drummer.
Lars is a drummer, I think.
Yeah, we definitely do not need a drummer.
I'll do it.
I don't know, because ultimately, until we physically get into that ground, in terms of
sorry, that is camp. But carry on.
Yes, until we get into that ground and actually understand what it's like to be in there, I don't really think you can answer that question, because, you know, Dan Mice said that the stands are steep and it's not going to be too dissimilar to Goodison Park. We don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like. We've seen the South Stand and how steep it is, and until we get there, I know Tottenham sort of, I don't know, Tottenham had it was weird because obviously they had half a season in their new ground, and then it was lockdown. Well, it wasn't even half a season, was it? And then it was lockdown, and they seem to have adjusted now. I think we have to get in there. We have to see what it's like, what the atmosphere is like. I think as long as we go in there as fans and do our part, then you can't really ask for any more. That's why I'm like, I've said this loads. I can't wait to move. I just can't wait to leave Goodison Park. As much as I love it, I can't wait for something new, experience something new, and I can't wait to experience a different match day and to see what the atmosphere is like. And as long as the fans do their part and don't just sit on their hands, then I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'm sure the South Stand and the safe standing and all that kind of thing will play its part in it. So I've got no fear. We definitely don't need a drum. I mean, that's just the number one thing. But all the things we've been doing already to try and help the atmosphere, I'm sure will be improved on. And people, I think people are genuinely excited about moving to Bramley-Moore Dock. There's not too many people I know people love Goodison and want, you know, they'd love to stay. They'd love to probably do what Liverpool have done with Anfield and rebuilt it. But I don't think there's a major... I don't hear a major swell of opinion that is, we've got to stay, or it's terrible that we're leaving. Most people are excited, and I think if you take that excitement into a new ground, I think it'll all help. So when everyone goes there, they'll be really excited. I think that'll help. Whereas maybe if we were being forced to move, or we didn't really want to move, then that would complicate matters. But most people, I think, really, really can't wait to go to Bramley-Moore Dock. or the Everton Stadium, should I
Straight.
call it?
New Everton Stadium.
Well, no, it's Bramley-Moore Dock right now.
New Everton Stadium. I think the design of it means that the fans will still be on top of the players. It's like Pez just said, if it's gonna need some orchestrating, but the way the various fans got together last season and orchestrated the bus welcome and the atmosphere going into the ground, the flags and everything else. I think if you do that down at the new stadium, it'll create just as good an atmosphere. And it's up to us then. It's dead easy to go, and it's almost a easy kind of go-to line for people. Be careful what you wish for, and you leave Goodison, and it'll all change. Look at West Ham. Well, it's because West Ham was still, the fans were sat at Upton Park, but the team was playing in the London Stadium, and they were that far away from the pitch. I think if you go there, Spurs had a few games, but then the next minute they just picked it back up. I think it was more bad decision making and poor management that Spurs didn't get it going. So I think from us, as long as we're doing the right things, I think the fans will back it and it'll be fun.
And I think as well, one other factor is, I think this is going to be a headache for the club, is the right fans have to be in the right areas. So if that standing section has to be full of the people who want to be in there, the Gladys type, maybe not personally. I stand every game. I mean, that's just forced. There's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I sit down the entire half time, but you're basically now forced to stand up in the Gladys. There's nothing else, and that's fine. Yeah. But we need a situation where it's that self stand. Anyone who's going in the standing area has to be someone who's prepared to stand and give it all for the entire game. I mean, I personally think we should have more standing on that south. I'd make the whole of the south standing, standing personally, and because I think there'll be enough people who want it. Really? I do. I think there'll be enough people who want. I think there's 13,000 there, and I think we could get 13,000 who'd want to stand up the entire game. John, we would. John, you go to away games. Everyone stands. I think we'll get 13,000 without any problem who want to stand up the entire game. And I think it would leave the rest of us in our comfy seats. I think there's loads of people at Goodison right now who would love to be in the Gladys Street. And I think we'd get 13,000. It doesn't have to be 13,000, because that's the beauty of rail seating, is that we could have a lower section and then maybe just keep going and going.
I want the biggest thing for me is it changes to 55,000.
But the point being is
the capacity is too small, and I'll say it every single day.
Yeah, and I agree.
Every day.
But that's the point, isn't it? So the point being is that it wouldn't really affect us three. We go in our sections where we'd be on the sides probably, and wouldn't really have to worry. Or you might be at the north end, John, or whatever, because you're in the park end. I think we'd have no problems. Yeah. I think it'd be a big part of it. I think that's the end, which is going to create the atmosphere. That's the de facto Gladys Street. Why not make the whole thing rail seating then and go full in on it? They won't, because it's Everton and they play everything safe. But I would. Yeah. Go on, John. What?
Well, if you make it rail seating, the intention is for people to stand.
Yeah.
So it's not seats at all.
No, but it's.
So you're talking about having 20,000 people on the south stand.
Well, no, because it's 1 for 1, isn't it?
Well, it'll be 1 and 1.5.
Well, it's not though, is it? It's 1 for 1. Right now, it's 1 for 1. I'm just speaking right now, as it's 1 for 1. That's 13,000 people. Let's have it.
My own view is we wouldn't get 13,000 people who want.
I don't know.
I think you get definitely half of it. I think you get 6 or 7, but I think 13
I think this is a big issue that we've missed out on at Goodison Park. The last 2 seasons, I would have gone full on the rail seating at Gladys. We all stand up anyway. I'd have gone full in on it and showed people what it's all about. And because the problem, so what? They did the lounges, John. They've done the roof of the Gladys Street. They've done the under roof of the Gladys Street. Why bother? We've got 2 years left on it. Why bother? They've done that. So why not show? Because the problem is you're going into a ground that you're blind about knowing. People, the people who got let's say there's 5,000 rail seats right now, right? 5,000 people put their hand up and go, I'm in. But then suddenly another 8,000 go, that is amazing. I want to be part of that. That place looks amazing. They can't.
No, I agree with you. The club should have been early adopters of rail seats.
Yeah. Loz, are you still there?
Yeah. Sorry, I just didn't want to interrupt you.
Sorry, mate.
What do you think?
Go on, what do you think?
Now, do you know what? I think you make some good points. I think it could go either way, but as you say, there's not many people going, oh, we've got to stay at Goodison. Like, I'm excited about Bramley-Moore, I'd like to be able to, because I'm 6'2", so some of the seats, you know what I mean?
You're just an average sized man, Loz. You're just an average sized man.
You're not.
At Goodison, though, it wasn't made when that was the average sized man, was it? When we were all like 5 foot.
Would you do rail seating, or do you just want to sit down, or would you be prepared to do rail seating?
I think I'm prepared to do rail seating, and I think that's a good argument to say it could be even better, because everyone who wants to stand and sing for 90 minutes will be next to each other, whereas in the Gladys, I know I don't sit in the Gladys, but you can sometimes get people who just want to sit down, some people want to stand up, so you've got like pockets, haven't you then?
James says, look at the yellow wall in Dortmund, people want to be part of that.
But that's what I was saying.
We stood there, it was amazing.
But one thing I would say, you're absolutely right, Loz, and I think this is the major point about the Gladys Street.
Listen, chat, hit the like button, by the way.
People financially are forced onto the Gladys Street because they can't afford to get off the Gladys Street. That's one of the issues. John's looking at me funny, but I'm absolutely right, John. The old system was, you went on the Gladys Street as the boys' pen and all that, and as you got a little bit more money, you moved to the nicer seats. You've done it with the parking. Baz has done it with the Bullens. People can't afford to get off the Gladys Street.
How much is the season ticket in the lower Gladys right now?
Right now, it's what it's about. It's about 500 quid.
So it's less than 100 quid.
That's a lot of money.
I know it's
that's a lot of money, John, for some people. What I'm saying is, though,
what we get into, which would be really interesting, and I think this debate grows as it will grow. It's not only about standing, but should be cheaper to stand.
Well, and that is a different time, and I appreciate that. But the problem is there are people in the Gladys Street who would have moved off the Gladys Street, because don't forget, there mightn't just be one person. It might be a family of 4 or whatever. There's like 6 of us who go to the match. That means every single one of us has to like agree to that move. So there are people who are stuck on the Gladys Street, and they might be right now being like, I wish I could. And there might be people who are like, I want to be in the Gladys Street. And because they're not moving off the Gladys Street, it means new people, the young blood, can't get onto the Gladys Street. And that's what I'm talking about with, this is a clean slate. And okay, listen, you might disagree with me, but I think the starting number that will be on the South Stand rail seating, I think there'll be more people who want to do that. Okay, it mightn't be 13,000, but I personally think there's more people. And they mightn't understand that till day one and go, oh, like you've just said, I want to be in there. I want to be on the blue wall. That's the thing, isn't it? And that might attract people going, I want to be on there.
There's a key here, and you are nailing a really interesting subject.
John, just grab that mic, because people are going. Well, Ned should have really just passed you the mic about 15 minutes ago.
That's John's hand on screen. There you go.
Right, go on, John.
Go on, John.
Go on.
No, that's the camera, John.
Go on, John.
Still doesn't quite understand how we do this.
No. Go on, mate.
I think I waved my hand in front of
Go on, John. Go on, John.
No, it's a really important thing, because if you're looking from a commercial perspective and you see demand for the South Stand, like on the yellow wall, what do? You put the prices up.
Yeah.
Okay? To exploit demand exceeding supply. What Ped's saying is the people you want, and this, I think the bit you really nailed was, you want the right people. If they're going to drive the atmosphere like the yellow wall does at Dortmund, then you really want the thing to be sold out. You've got to price it to sell out. And I think actually, if you follow the logic, whether it's 13,000 at 1-to-1 or it's 13,000 at 1-to-1.5, you price it right, it will be full.
Yeah.
Whether it'll be full of the right people, because you just said yourself, you stand every game, not through choice.
No, but
because
the difference is, John,
make you stand.
The difference is, John, if you go onto the new South Stand, the blue wall, you know you're standing. And it doesn't matter for some people. You've just said it yourself. People will then go, well, I am paying, let's say, £100 less to stand, but I've got to stand. And that's a decision they can make.
Yeah, but what happens if people are going into the South Stand because it's the cheapest ticket?
Yeah, but I understand that, but that's a decision they can't make right now in the Galaxies. They are forced into that.
But we're talking about Bramley-Moore.
Yeah, but no, but there's nothing you can do about that, though, is there? There's literally nothing you can do. For me, it's the South Stand has got to be the place where the people who want to make the atmosphere, the young people, the people that, where I was 20 odd years ago when I started going, not when I started going to match, but I started going to match as an adult and I had my own money. They've independently got to feel like they want to be there and want to make a contribution. And when we were on that yellow wall, it was so obvious that we as tourists stood out a little bit, didn't we? It was like, you shouldn't be here. And you could almost have that kind of thing of like, if you're there, you're there. You're part of it.
Well, we got told, didn't we, the next day by Sebastian, the SLO, that the ultras, the guys who own the bottom half of the wall, right, who drive everything, wanted a serious conversation with the club because, quote, there were too many tourists on the yellow wall, and that was compromising the atmosphere. So one thing that's critical for Everton Football Club is to basically expand what you said, make sure the right people are on the blue wall. Actually, if that's only a few years away, then they're already too late to start that debate. So anyone who's listening to your show should be pushing the fans forum, perhaps even pushing the fan advisory board to bring it up with the club and say, we need to know how you're going to do this because we want to contribute to making sure it's successful. And by the way, I'm in the park end because I couldn't get 2 seats in the Gladys Street. And that's going to happen to a lot of people because when we moved to the Everton Stadium, how many of us, and I know I bored people with this, I've got 2 granddaughters, I'd like them both going the game, but the club's not planning for me to have 4 season tickets instead of 2, or for Zach to be going every single game and whatever. Yeah. So
Zach will be on the blue wall by then.
Damn right he will. That's where he'll want to be.
Season ticket holder for ages. So.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That's where he'll want to be. He's going to go his first away game, isn't he, this season probably? Yeah. So all that is a couple of years away. Everyone's a couple of years older, and so on. And I think that's where it's going to get emotive as we get closer and closer. Because you've still got 20,000 people on the waiting list as well.
Yeah.
Loz, you're not bringing your drum.
No,
that's
the long and short of it, Loz.
What about songbooks?
No.
Come on.
What do you sound? Have you heard yourself? Have you heard yourself? Songbooks.
Some clubs use them. Really
some clubs have got terrible fans. Songbooks. Have a word with yourself.
Fair enough.
Oh my God! What we could do is we could just put the songs on YouTube on our channel for people to learn.
Someone's got to come up with them first.
There we go.
No,
can do it.
Songs are quite organic, aren't they? You know, once you get them out there, they're out there.
People.
You know what isn't organic? Drums. Drums aren't organic.
Drums are just noisy.
Yeah. Don't want a drum.
Yeah. Oh well.
There you go. Nice one, Loz. That sparked a great conversation. Cheers, Loz.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Ned, actually, was it you put the thing on Twitter, the poll?
I didn't do it.
Ned, don't he? Oh my God, he's actually been proactive.
Because John told him.
Oh, sorry.
Are you messing? It was John.
Right.
The Blues, it says, Baz, not everyone questioned Iwobi. Some people gave him the benefit because he only played in this position a couple of times and he played well when in midfield. Okay. I mean, I've got stick for saying Iwobi's all right. For many years, people told me I was delusional. He's awful. We can all, all we saw was, I think most people, put it this way then, most people would have sold him.
I would have.
6 months ago, no problem. No problem.
No problem, it put me on.
So,
Alex Iwobi was terrible, and then he stopped being terrible, and that sometimes happens. That's sometimes
the whole thing about this, right? The whole thing about it was this was just born out of me saying people thought Iwobi wasn't very good. Now he's brilliant.
Don't forget when he first come in, he was okay.
He was okay. Then, I got stick for the okay.
And then he started. And then listen, he'd probably say it himself. He probably missed Arsenal. He probably missed London. He probably missed his family. And then someone come in and went, "You'll play in my team because you work hard, and that's what I need." And then by working hard, he's won the manager's trust. And then don't forget as well, by almost pure fluke, he ended up in midfield to begin the season, and he's grabbed it with 2 hands. And fair play to him. Fair play to him.
He did it last year. He grabbed it with 2 hands.
Cinderella story.
So he's done brilliantly. So I'm made up, and I'm not saying Tom Davies would have the same trajectory.
Can I just say this
really
as well?
matter. He's just a squad player.
Can I just say this as well? Do you know if you were wrong?
Just say
so
it.
What?
Doesn't matter.
What?
Doesn't matter,
do you know what? I was wrong. I thought he was the worst signing Everton ever made. But you know what? I was wrong. He's not the worst signing. That was Cenk Tosun. Right. You're allowed to be wrong. We're not all.
We haven't got it. It doesn't matter because you haven't got it. You've seen players who go somewhere and you go, they'll be brilliant for them. And they've been terrible. And the good footballers, it hasn't worked.
You are allowed to be wrong.
Tom Davies is an is an Everton squad player, and that's just the end of it.
But it's about loads of players. You're allowed to be wrong. You're also allowed to change your opinion. Don't worry about it. There's too much of this thing of like worrying about because you said something and it didn't come true or whatever.
I thought Leon Bailey would be good signing for Villa, and he hasn't really, has he? You can see at times he's got it. He's got a great goal against City the other week. He's been good against Everton. He's not really done it. He's got all the attributes. That's the way it is, isn't it? Rory thought Erling Haaland wouldn't be able to do it.
Too many people fashion not their opinion, but their continued way of looking at things based on an opinion they had. So it's, I thought Dominic, this is not me, but it's like, I thought Dominic Calvert-Lewin was rubbish. So you always see him in that light. Oh, he scored the hat-trick, but what else did he do? You know, we've seen this with players. It's like, I don't like this player, so every time I see them, I'm gonna, instead of just going, you know what, actually, he's turned out to be a good player now. I was wrong. It happens.
I've seen people on here saying Tom Davies championship standard and all that. He plays in the Premier League. 150 gets a lot of games to play in the Premier League. 150 games.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin was championship standard. He went to the Euros with England.
That's true. I mean, Subscribe for Luck says Iwobi was terrible until his $100,000 a week contract is due up. He's still got like another 2 years though, hasn't he?
And he hasn't signed another one.
Craig says I absolutely love standing every game at the end of last season in the Gladys Street. Yeah, so Craig might be a convert to stand.
But as John said though, this is the information Everton should be collecting now. Should be collecting now. How many people? I don't think personally Everton should go, this is how many are there, and you've got to jump through hoops. If there's an opportunity to get 10,000 people standing at the Everton Stadium, then please do it, because it will make the atmosphere so much better.
It'd be incredible. It's just, can you do it?
Well, I think they can do it. I think that whole stand is built for rail seating. I think the whole thing is built for rail seating. It's
not going to have rail seats more than halfway up, is it?
No, but I think it's built for rail seating. I think you have to have. I think for me, you have to build the ground now with that in mind, surely. And I think the technology for rail seating works. Retrofitted that, you can retrofit that into maybe an area that isn't. As long as it's steep enough, and the person behind you can see in front of the person in front of them, then that's it, isn't it? So. Because otherwise, you could get into you could get into all the minutiae of it, couldn't you? Well, people who are smaller need to go at the front, and people. So ultimately, I think you could easily get 10,000 people right now who'd go on day one of the Everton Stadium opening. I want to be rail seat.
Okay. Bainey says I think people should get off Tom's back. He's, in my opinion, a little unlucky. He's not put a foot wrong this season. He's been replaced by a better player. We should be happy that we have him in there as a squad player and as a local lad that knows what it is to be an Everton player. As for Coleman, why do we have to change a working formation when we have him as now a backup for Patterson? Leave them be and enjoy the way we're currently playing. Pat says people need to stop thinking about Iwobi as a super utility player. He's a centre midfielder now, end of. Toffee Chaz says if Coleman miraculously got injured, who'd fill in? Maybe Kyle John.
No.
It'd probably be Stanley Mills, wouldn't it? Or then they might have to look at maybe an Iwobi or someone like that. But let's hope Coleman doesn't.
Isn't that like an argument you'd say for every single football team? If their first choice gets injured and their backup gets injured, then who takes over? Isn't that a problem every single team has?
Every team has it. Campbell says it. I've never cried at a football match, but I may well do at the last game at Goodison Park.
Yeah, listen. I think
it'll be emotional.
I don't think anyone is sitting here going, they won't be tears, or they won't be highly. I think you can be highly emotional about your love for a place, but still want to move.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember when my mum and dad moved out to their house. But then once it was done, it was done.
It's done.
It's still your
rip the plaster off.
Yeah, you still your mum. Oh no, I had to rip my plaster off my foot.
No, that's not nice. No, don't. Toffee too says, is there a reason why the club could not offer a season ticket swap for next season? That'd give them an idea for safe standing at BMD. I don't want to see it. At the complications of it, and what if people aren't happy and they want it back and all that. It's difficult, mate. Pat says opinions change when the facts change. Completely reasonable to change. Iwobi said as much about missing his family in London during his recent interview for the official Everton YouTube channel.
That is why, and I've said this for 5-6 years, That is why you have to humanise footballers. You have to show the other side of them. And I think Everton, with the Iwobi video, have done that in a way. But Everton should be doing that every single week at home with this fella. And you go, oh, I didn't know this player was into this thing that I also love. Oh, I like him now. Or humanise footballers so that
they're not robots.
So that when you go to the match, you don't go, because they were very good at humanising Roberto Martinez, and suddenly you found a person you liked and a person you could back and a person actually you give a little bit of a chance to. And this has been the problem with Everton. We've said it before. We had a conversation before, weren't we? The likes of Marco Silva when he was the manager. You saw one side of him, this robotic person in press conferences that just you couldn't relate to or warm to. Maybe if Everton had a little sit-down conversation with him, a bit more relaxed, maybe, bring him on a blue couch, then it might have been a nicer thing. People going, oh, he signed him. Actually, he's a nice fella. You know what? Oh, he's into this, he's into that. You've got to humanise footballers so that when you go to the match on a week, on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever, you look at them and go, actually, I can't just go, you're rubbish or you're this, you're that. Because you find something that you have in common with them and you connect to them,
Campbell said, when Everton signed Iwobi, an Arsenal fan told me we got a gem for the past 3 years. I thought he was taking the mickey. Jack Al says, I think something that went against Iwobi also is that we were in for Zaha and ended up with Iwobi as what looked like a panic buy. It felt like a huge downgrade, but now obviously suits what Frank is after from the team, and he's flourishing. Fair play to him for fighting for his place in the team. Yeah, that's the big thing, isn't it? People did go, Wilf Zaha goals, runs at people, commits defenders, is exciting. And Iwobi isn't the same player and wasn't the same player, and therefore you would literally look and go, a lot of people did, why didn't we just get Zaha? It's the way it is, but it's horses for courses. He shoots Frank Lampard shoots him, so great. That's brilliant. We want them all to be brilliant, don't we? Yeah. Richie says, last one, hi lads, what realistically could have been the maximum capacity for Everton Stadium? Personally, I think we could fill 65,000. Look at West Ham. They managed to get 60.
You wouldn't get
62, Richie, was the maximum if safe standing was included.
But you wouldn't get 65,000 on that plot. And let's remember, we all wanted that plot. That was the dream move. Was that location? We could have had 65 to 70 if we'd gone to East Lancs, but we would have had a stadium stuck out in the middle of nowhere, where almost forgotten about. It would have been where we're going is going to change the landscape of this city and maybe the landscape of Everton Football Club, and it's going to become an icon for the city. It's going to be there. It's going to be in the heart of the city where it is. That area, even though certain people on Twitter don't quite believe it, that area is going to be a big area. I've seen it already. I was down the other day. There's things changing all around. The Isle of Man ferry terminal's getting built, the new one there. There's loads of bars.
Yeah, but people who don't think anything's happening, and people who haven't visited the city
there's already the Titanic hotels down there. There's new flats that some of our wonderful Toffee TV Premium members are owning, and we're going to see them soon. There's nice bars like Murphy's where we have our nights. There's other bars. There's going to be Everton murals down there soon. There's going to be new flats, new all kinds. And Costco does the hot dogs, even though they put them up, which I feel is wrong, because they are, it's just life. You shouldn't put hot dogs up. But anyway, it's going to be magnificent, and it's going to be the city's going to grow because of it, and we're not going to be stuck in that L4 nonsense that we've been stuck in for years and years. It's going to force the club
from a club perspective, not from an
area perspective, from a club's perspective, not looking past L4. We're suddenly going to become a club on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey with all the amazing boats coming up and down, and it's going to revolutionise.
Toffee Boy says, guys, remember the last time you went down to the new stadium? I was there a couple of weeks ago. You were there more recently, and it's huge. It's huge. It looks fantastic now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was there Sunday. Well, we will go down in the next.
We've got a video.
We will go down and have a little look on Wednesday and go on the place where you can actually stand and see it. But it's amazing. If you're watching all the drone videos, they're amazing.
Right, last couple. Graham Harrison says, will Keaton Tom stunt the growth of Warrington or Onyango? Well, that's what we said before, didn't we? That's what the club have got to make that decision. Danny says, talking about player interviews, stop asking questions that make them look stupid. Seeing Godfrey and Holgate talk about aliens made me want to melt my telly. Yeah, some of the questions are shocking. And Toffee Boy says, is that smell as bad as people say it is? It
wasn't great on Sunday. It wasn't.
Could you smell
it?
Yeah. I've only smelt it once and it was terrible.
It's the waterworks, isn't it? It's where the water treatment plant is. But hopefully that, I mean, Everton have to do something to address that. I don't know, sprinkle potpourri in it or something, or tell them not to have the things open that day.
Have like a wind farm blowing the other way
or have a wind farm, or have like trees between it and the ground, so they absorb big fern trees or something, so they absorb the smell. But they're going to have to do something about that, definitely, because there will be occasions where you will be able to smell it and it will be off-putting. Yeah. So, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Subscribe if you haven't.
Thanks for the
calls. Yeah. There you go. We'll be back doing this next week, but we'll be obviously back on Premier tomorrow.
Premier tomorrow. Toffee TV Premier tomorrow. If you're on Toffee TV Premier, the match preview will be going out in 2 minutes. There you go. We'll see you.
See you later. Bye.